everyone, it's Di here from Diane. Welcome to this week. I'm going to show you how I made this card. It's called a tag punch card because we have a tag that holds our card together just here, and it's held together with nice ribbon. So we're going to show you how I made this card. We are going to do this card in Bumblebee, which is the new ink colour for this year. So let's move that card out of the way for now. And let me show you what we need. We need, not a real lot, believe it or not. We need a card base that measures 5 7/8 by 8 1/4. We need an insert that measures 5 5/8 by 3 7/8. We need, let me see, oh, that bit's misspelled. For the front of the card, we need a piece that measures 5 5/8 by 2 1/4, and then our designer series paper that measures 5 3/8 by 2 inches. We need another piece of scrap white or whatever colour. In this case, I'm doing white because I'm going to use my daisy punch. I'm going to be using my medium daisy punch to make a nice daisy, so that will fit through there beautifully. And we're going to be using this scallop tag topper punch as well, so we're going to use that. And I might need one more little bit of white, but I've got a bit lying around here, so we will play that by ear. I'm going to use Posted For You, which goes with the festive post and the whatever you call this, let me have a look, rectangular postage stamp punch. And you can buy this as a bundle and get 10% off, and this one here is in the Christmas catalogue. So these two here go with this punch. How beautiful is that? Got great stuff for all year round then, because this has got Christmas, it's got love, so it's got for Valentine's, so we've got some Christmassy things here. We've got for Halloween here, if we're into that, a bit more Christmassy stuff there, and a few words, a few bats, and some lovely things here. Here we have a lovely postage stamp and some beautiful stamps here, which I have done for a card that is for my colour creation, which would have already gone live. This is Daffodil Delight, and I've coloured these in with Daffodil Delight, so you can see what a beautiful card that can make using this and the punch. So I just thought I'd show you that anyway, so that you can see what it looks like. And we're not going to be using the punch, we are just using those other two punches, and we're going to be using the Just a Note out of this set. So let's move that one out of the way, and we're going to be using Sending Hugs and these hearts out of this set, which this set here is the Lots to Celebrate, which goes with the jar of flowers. So this matches the jar of flowers with the jar punch, so it is really gorgeous, and it means you've got twice as many things to do with the one punch, which is great. Okay, so let's see, we've told you what we need here, so let's get started. Let's pop them on one side. And we're going to bring in our first piece of card here, and I need a pencil. And I'm going to just mark on this pencil, on this side, I'm going to mark at the 1.5 inch mark on that side, and then I'm going to turn the card over, and then I'm going to mark it at the 1.5 inch mark again. And that's just for my, and I've done it on the wrong side, haven't I? So that was a really bit silly, wasn't it? So I'll do it this way so that I got it on the right correct side. So 1.5 inch mark, turn that around, and we won't see these, so we don't need to worry about them. They will be cut off. 1.5 inch mark. So I'm going to bring in my tag top punch, my scalloped tag topper, as it's called, and I'm going to slide this in. Now this has got a gap here for, I think it's 2 inches. Yep, so it's a 2 inch gap, but we're going to just pop this in here. And what we're going to do is, when you get this in here, you can see that along the edge here, right along this edge here, let's pop it up on an angle so you can just see where the plastic and the punch are. So what we're going to do is we're going to push that in here, and we're going to pop that line right on that edge where the where the metal joins the plastic. So once we know that's in there nice and firm and it's right up against that line, we're going to punch that out. So you'll see that your line is back here. So, and this is all really ruined along the edges. But so what we're doing, as I said, is right along this edge here, as you can see with my thumb. Let me use a picking tool. You can see this line where the plastic edge here meets the metal die, and that's what we're lining this 1.5 inch line up with. So let's turn this over, and we're going to do exactly the same on the other side, making sure that the lines match up there. And I used my boobs in this case to push this way back in here, make sure it's right back against the back edge, using the back of my hand to push that down and pull it out. So as you can see, we have our two marks right where we want them. Now if you want to make these lower, like 1 inch or whatever, I just did mine at 1.5. So now I'm going to bring my trimmer in, and now what I'm going to do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lean this up against the bottom edge, right where you can just see the edge of this cutting, what do you call that, line is, right here, right where this cutting is. There's like a groove in there. Oops, and it's full of dirt. There we go. Let's move them off. Finish doing that while I'm at it. Yep, there we go. So when you pull this up again here, you can just see that groove there and there. Oops, not really, because you're not in the picture. Just there and there. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull this down. Let's move this. We don't want that. We want the cutting blade, and we're going to cut until you can feel it. Oh, you'll feel when it gets to the end of that, and it just goes click like it's finished. And we can pull that out, and then we pop this up the other end, and we will do exactly the same again. Click, and it's done. Alright, so oops, there's a little tiny little bit. I think I might just go a tiny bit higher. We didn't want that coming out the edge, but there we go. We're going to pop that down there. And we'll bring that down to the bottom, and we'll do exactly the same again. You can feel it just click right where it's already cut. So we're going to do that on both sides. So we're going to bring that in there so that it's right on that edge there, so it's right there. And we're going to start at the bottom, and we're going to go until we go, feel it just pull off the edge of there, and then we'll push it up to the top, and we're going to bring it down and do exactly the same again on the other side. So we have two nice edges, and then what we're going to do, oops, you know what we didn't do, we should have done it before we started. So I'm going to bring back in that piece that we cut off the edge, which was a bit dumb for me. And we're going to pop this in here like so, so that that edge goes that way, because we need to measure this and score it at the 3¼ inch mark, which is this line here. You can see it lines up with that line there, so we're going to pop that in there, and we're going to score that. So we'll move that gate out of the way. We're going to score that, because we know that that's correct, at the 3¼ inch mark. Now I should have done that before I cut it, but we didn't do it before we cut it, so we've done it after. And all we need to do is, if that happens, is just grab our piece of our tag that we moved off and use that as our guide to the edge of the paper. So once we've done that, we're then going to pop this back in here at this mark here, and we're going to score down this tag. Not the one on the short side, the one on the long side. So let's pop that out of the way. We don't need our scoreboard anymore. We don't need our bit of a template. So here we have our piece, and it's got the fold, then the 4 1/8, the fold, and this was the 3 1/4, which will be the front of the card. So let's fold and burnish that over, and fold and burnish this little tag over as well. There we go. So that's our card. That's what our card is going to look like. So let's pop that out of the way. Let's just trim that little piece there that's annoying the bejeebers out of me. It's like a bit of fluff. There we go. That's got it. And let's start on the rest. So what we're going to do is we're going to then glue our designer paper onto our white card layer. If you've got designer paper that has a one-way design, don't forget to make sure you've got your design the correct way up, because nothing's worse than a card with, or anything really, with the design around the wrong way. To me it just looks really wrong, and I've done it myself plenty of times. So pop that on there, and then that will go onto the front of the card like so. So let's pop that onto the front of the card. And then that's the front of the card done. Waiting for the rest. It's not really easy to see on this colour where the there we go. And that's our front of our card done there. So let's bring in our insert, and we're going to use our Memento ink, and we're going to put in here sending hugs. Now we must remember when we're putting them in this one that they have to stay on the left hand side, because we have an open patch down here. So we need to have our words onto our left hand side so they're hidden behind the rest of the card. I'm bringing in my real red, which is covered in ink. It's a brand new pad and it's really goofy. And I'm going to put some nice hearts up in this top corner. And what I'm might do, see if I've got a piece of scrap here somewhere. There we go, a bit of scratch paper, and I'll do them again, and I'll just pop some hearts up in this top corner and down in this bottom corner. All the way along, actually, I think I'm going to do them. Wow, they look really great. I think they look fantastic. Sending hugs with lots of hearts. So let's pop the lid back on this. So it's out of the way, and we'll pop that onto the inside of our card. Then once it's closed, you'll see all those beautiful hearts down one side, and our saying is behind there, so we can put our writing in this section. We just have to make sure when we're writing we don't put anything so that it runs out into the rest of the card. So now I'm going to actually just punch out 3 daisies in the white card. Whoops. And then I've got enough room down here on my piece to do my other words, which are going to be just a note. So let's put that just a note on here. How gorgeous does that look? And then I will actually cut that out in a minute, but I'll let that dry a tiny bit. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to just give these petals on here a bit of a curl on all 3 of them. Just breaks the fibres don't pull too hard, because you don't want to pull your petals off. And we'll pop a little bit of glue on the first one and pop our second one on top on a slightly off from the other one, and then a bit more glue on the top one, and then this one will fill in the gap. It will when it gets in there. Get in there. Reminds you a bit of the M&M advert. Get in the bowl. Get in the bowl. So that's our flower. So we'll bring that over there, and we will cut this out now. Let's pop this pin back in my glue, and we will chop this out so that it looks just perfect. You can do this with your scissors if you feel confident, or on your trimmer. I do have a bit more of this yellow here, which I will actually just trim. What I'm going to do is, I've got a piece here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pop some glue onto the back of this piece and just glue this into the corner here, with a nice gap on 2 sides, and then I will trim that to match. And there we have it. What a gorgeous looking little thing. Hang on, let's get that fluffy end off. I hate fluffy ends. There we go. Fluffy end gone. So let's finish putting our card together. We're going to pop a dimension onto the back of our daisy and pop him onto the front of the card like so, along with a couple more dimensions onto the back of our just a note. And we'll pop that onto the front of the card as well. Oops, on the front of the card, not onto the front of. And I'm going to pop this down the bottom on an angle so that it's not symmetrical. Excuse me, I'm itching my eye. And I'm going to get one of these Wonder Gems again, which I absolutely love. These are wonderful gems, and they are wonderful gems. And I've got the clear one with the gold bit in the middle. And I'm going to pop that into the middle of the flower. But because it's tiny, I'm going to put some little ones around the edge. Like 3 of them. 1, 2, oops, 3 of them, just to give it some more oomph. Oh, that one's not in the right spot, but stand still. There we go. It just looks so beautiful, and I'm going to fluff that up a tiny bit more. Now I'm going to grab a piece of ribbon, and I've got some bumblebee ribbon here, which is gorgeous. Let me see where the end is. Here's the end. Oh, I must be getting to the end. There's a bit of tape on the end of this one, so let's cut that off. Throw that bit in the bin. I'm going to pop that through here. We're just going to tie this up into a nice bow. So we need probably about, I don't know, about a foot, 12 inches, 30 centimetres of ribbon. And once you're happy with your bow, which is not easy for me, I'm not a bow person, we can then trim them off nicely. Let's move that out the way. Let's trim this side up to match. There you have it. I mean, whoever gets the card is going to undo the bow anyway, so we don't need it to be tight. And that's our card for today. So there's my original card, which I did. This is all using retired. This is just some ribbon I had in my stash, but I just wanted to see how it went together, and I'm really happy with that. So that's the card for today. It's called a Scalloped Tag Closing Card. I don't know what I'm going to call it when I write the tutorial. Well, I've written the tutorial, but I haven't actually given it a name yet, so it will be something along that lines. So that's the card for today. By the time this goes live, you'll have the name of it anyway, and I hope you've enjoyed it. If you would like the written tutorial for this card, please head over to Di's Den for Stamping, Crafting and Tutorial onto my Facebook group, and there you will find the written tutorial for this. It's free to join, and everything in there is free. All you have to do is ask to join, and once you're in, you can enjoy the fun with the rest of us. And I hope to see you again next week. Bye for now.